Today we'll be making a potted crepe paper African violet. We're going to be using many different types of crepe paper today, and I'll show those to you now. Be using a double-sided in ferns and moss, an extra fine in juniper, extra fine lilac, extra fine vanilla, and a heavy crepe paper in nectarine. The rest of the tools and materials that we'll be using today you can find in the post or in the PDF tutorial. To get started, we are going to make our leaves. We're going to take a 24 gauge wire and cut it down to 6 inches long. Take 2 leaf halves and your white glue. I'm going to run a line of glue up the flat edge of one of the leaves and lay the wire on top. Then run a thin line of glue on top of the wire and place the other leaf half on top. Only overlap the leaves just enough to cover that wire. Then press firmly over the wire to secure everything in place. Make sure you pay attention to your grain lines on the template and in the SVG file when you're cutting your crepe paper. You want to have this nice V on all of your leaves. For this plant, we have a large leaf and a small leaf included in the template. Next, we're going to take a paper towel. I always like to use a paper towel when I'm working with pan pastel to catch any of the excess powder. Go ahead and take one of my leaves and a blending brush. I'm going to cover one side of my leaf with this dark green pan pastel. This is a chromium oxide green. I'm going to go ahead and flip my leaf over and very lightly cover the back side. You don't need to saturate it with color. Just give it a nice tint so that the green is a similar shade as the front of the leaf. I'll go ahead and repeat that with the smaller leaf. Next, I'm going to grab a larger piece of paper towel and fold it so that I have 6 layers. So it has a little bit of cushion to it. I'm going to go ahead and take one of my leaves and place it front side down onto the paper towel. I'm going to take my steel ball shaping tool here, and this is about a 1/4 inch size ball. I'm going to create veining in the leaf by pressing into the leaf, into the paper towel, and making a nice arch from the center wire out. I'm going to do 3 of these on one side. Just kind of running back and forth to really make an indent in the leaf. I'm going to repeat that on the opposite side. And I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. You'll see the leaf looks a little sad and droopy. We're going to go ahead and just fold the leaf together at the wire. That's your leaf, and we're going to go ahead and repeat that with the small leaf. Just making 3 arched indentations on either side. Really running the steel ball tool back and forth. Go ahead and flip it over. Fold the leaf up at the center wire. Next, I'm going to take a strip of juniper crepe paper. I'm going to use this just like floral tape. I'm going to add a line of glue down the wire. Just wrap this wire with the tape. I'm only going to wrap about halfway down the wire. Stop and then add a bit of glue at the end to secure that wrap in place. I'll repeat that with my larger leaf as well. Okay, after I've wrapped those, I'm going to be adding a bit of this brown pan pastel to the stems. This is a burnt sienna shade. Again, I'm going to take a paper towel to catch any of that dust. I'm just going to lightly dust the stem, the wrapped area of the stem, with the pan pastel to add a tint of brown. You still want the green showing through, so you don't need too much. Okay, now that your leaves are all done, we're going to go ahead and set these aside and use them later. Next, I'll show you how to make your flower. We're going to start with the stamen of our flower. So you're going to need the stamen piece and the pollen. I'm going to go ahead and stretch the pollen piece out all the way. Then very gently stretch the stamen piece just so that it lays flat. So you're barely stretching it. You just want it so it lays nice and flat on your surface. And then we're going to go ahead and trim the pollen so it is the same length as the stamen. Next, I'm going to add a bit of white glue to the lower half of the pollen. I'm going to glue the stamen to the pollen. Then I'll add a bit of glue to the top section of the pollen. Really make sure you press that down after you fold it over. And you can kind of trim the ends so that all of the crepe paper is even. Next, we're going to take our scalloped pinking shears, and I'm going to cut off half of the pollen. Make sure your scalloped pinks are lined up as you cut, because we're going to be using those as spacers for our fringe. So each scallop is going to be one fringe. All right. After you've scalloped the edge, we're going to go ahead and cut every fourth scallop. So you're going to be cut between the fourth and the fifth. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, then cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cut. And you can continue doing that. This strip of stamen should make about 6 to 7 stamen for you. I'm going to go ahead and take one of these, and I'm going to place it in my fringe clip. Just makes it a little bit easier to see. Take my detail scissors. I'm going to cut only just below where the pollen is. So I'm only cutting in about 1/4 inch. Then you'll have 4 small fringes. I'm going to take it out of the fringe clip, and I'm going to stretch the vanilla crepe paper. I'm going to go ahead and roll each of the pollen between my fingers. The glue should still be damp at this point, making it so you can mold each little pollen into a round shape. Next, you'll take a 24 gauge wire, and I've cut this down to 6 inches. I'm going to add glue to the entire vanilla portion of the stamen, and then wrap it around the tip of the 24 gauge wire. Next, you're going to take the very small piece of purple crepe paper. It's a small strip. I'm going to twist it. I'm holding it with one hand, then twisting it between the fingers of my right hand. I'm going to add some white glue to one end of it, and then attach it to the edge of my stamen. Now that we've completed the center of our flower, I'm going to set it to the side and let the glue dry, and we're going to start working on our petals. I'm going to take my paper towel again. Using the violet colored pan pastel, really saturate both sides of each petal set. I'm also going to take my bud petals and add the violet pan pastel to both sides of the bud petal set as well. Next, I'm going to use the larger side of my steel ball shaping tool. I'm just going to cup the center of each petal very lightly. I'm going to do the same thing with the second petal set as well. And then for the bud petals, I'm going to use the smaller side of the steel ball tool. Cup both of those petals as well. Next, I'm going to take petal set A and take my stamen. I'm going to press the wire through the center of the two petals and slide it all the way up. I'm going to add glue to either side of the wire and fold the petals up around the stamen. Go ahead and pinch around the base of the petals so that they form to the wire. And we're going to go ahead and take petal set B and slide it onto the wire. Just press the wire through the center of the two petals. These two petals are just going to go in the space on either side between that first petal set. Go ahead and add glue to either side of the wire, and then fold the petals up, pinching the crepe paper around the wire. Next, we're going to take a strip of the juniper crepe paper. I'm going to wrap the base of the flower down the wire. Go ahead and wrap about 3/4 of the way down the wire. Next, we're going to take our white paint pen. I'm going to just line the top edge of each petal with this, just by kind of tapping, gently drawing along the top edge just to add a tiny bit of white. Some African violets have this detail, and some of them are just solid purple, so you do not have to add this if you don't want to, but I think it adds a nice touch and a little bit more depth. I'm going to go ahead and take our paper towel again and add some of that burnt sienna shade to the stem of our flower. Just like we did for the leaf, just add a little bit so you still see the green, but it has a touch of brown to it. And then we can set this flower aside to use for later. Next, we're going to make a bud, and we're going to add that bud to our flower stem we just made. So take a 24 gauge wire. I've also cut this one down to 6 inches long. I'm going to press it through the center of the two bud petals. Slide it up to the tip of the wire. I'm just going to add glue all around the tip of my wire. I'm going to fold the two petals over the wire, pinching the crepe paper around the tip of the wire to hold. One of the petals should wrap more so around the other, so one's kind of in the center. You can kind of twist the base between your fingers. And then we're going to go ahead and take these two sepal pieces. I'm going to place the wire through the center hole in one of these pieces. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to either side of the wire on the sepal, and then I'm just going to fold the sepal up around the bud. Just kind of pinch the crepe paper around the wire again to hold it in place. I'm going to take the second sepal, sliding it up just under the bud and adding glue to either side of it and folding it up so that each side of the sepal just rests between the other two sepal you placed first. Next, I'm going to wrap only about 2 inches down the wire with a strip of juniper crepe paper. Don't tear off the strip of juniper crepe paper yet, because we're going to go ahead and grab our flower we just made and start wrapping the stem of the flower onto the stem of the bud. So now you can just wrap both wires together, and you can go ahead and wrap all the way down to where you wrapped the flower. Then go ahead and add a bit of the burnt sienna to the stem again. I'm going to take my white paint pen and add just a little bit of white to the tip of my bud petals, just like I did on the flower petals. Next, I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to go ahead and arch the stem wire on my bud so that it arches down. We want the bud to face down. Then we're going to do the same with the flower as well. We're just going to arch it so that the flower faces out. The petal set that has a bit of a split in the top of it is going to be facing upward. There you go, you've finished your flowers. Alright, so I made 10 flowers, and then I also made 15 leaves, and we're going to go ahead and place these in a pot. So to prep these to place in a pot, I'm going to go ahead and gather a few flowers together and arrange them at varying heights. And I'm just going to use a strip of my juniper crepe paper to attach these just down at the base of these wires. I'm also going to trim these wires so that they're all an even length. Now that I've grouped together some of these flowers, I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the leaves. Just going to group together. I'm going to add these in groups of 3. I'm going to do 2 large leaves and a smaller leaf together. And then same thing, just wrapping all the wires together with a strip of the juniper crepe paper. You don't need to worry about adding the pan pastel to this wrapped section because we're just going to be placing it in a pot and you won't see it. So you can see I'm kind of layering these so that my small leaf is a bit lower than the larger leaves. I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest of these leaves single so I can arrange them nicely in the pot. So here's my pot. It's about a 4-inch pot, and I've placed some floral foam in there. I'm going to go ahead and take some moss, place that in there as well. Okay, first I'm going to go ahead and grab my leaves that I've grouped together and press those in. I'm going to shorten my stems just a little bit more. So you can see my wrapped section here is only about 1 inch long. So I can really press it all the way in. I'm going to arch my leaves over the edge, just like that. Do this all the way around the pot. They're kind of evenly spaced, so now I'm going to go in with my single leaves and fill in all the gaps. And go ahead and trim off wires as needed. It kind of depends how deep your pot is, how long your wires need to be. All right, once you've added all of your leaves, you're going to go ahead and add your flower stems. So the flowers stick up a lot higher than the leaves on violets. I'm going to put my tallest violet stem in the center. And there you have it, potted African violet.